All right, everybody. I'm Christopher Spell, and I am the two-time Guinness World Record holder for the highest standing jump or the highest box jump. And in this video, I hope to provide you with the most detail as to how to box jump out of any video you've ever seen before. There will be chapters in this video so that you guys can scrub and slide to which section that you want to see.
Tell me why they sleeping on me, on me. Tell me why they sleeping on me, on me. Tell me why they sleeping on me, on me. Tell me why they sleeping on me, on me. Tell me why they.
In 2018, I broke the Guinness World Record at 64.3 inches from a standing position. And someone then broke my world record at 65 inches. So then I one-upped that, and I went up to 67 inches in 2020, I think, 2021 early. And I still have the record since. So I have a lot of value to provide you, a lot of insight as to going through the motions of actually becoming a Guinness World Record holder, not once, but twice. Now, there's a lot of controversy over whether or not the box jump is a good exercise for lower body power, or if it just shows flexibility in the hip flexors and the lower back. Sometimes a lot of coaches will say that. I definitely think otherwise. I think that it's an excellent lower body explosive movement that will help increase your jump over time. Why? Because one, we are jumping explosively from a standstill, getting on top of the box, and although yes, it does require, it's not a true vertical jump, since it also involves our hip flexors coming up and a little bit of flexibility involved, but it is very easily tracked. Our progress can be easily tracked here, which makes it an excellent exercise. Anybody has a measuring tape and can just measure it right there, boom, and see each session after session if you guys are increasing over time. So that's one of the most beneficial things, is not everybody has access to a jump mat or a Vertec, but everybody has access to a measuring tape. Also, there is excellent carryover from box jumps to increasing your other jumps, such as your vertical, your broad jumps, and even your sprints. Here's a short little story. I trained to break the record, and that was my main focus. Didn't sprint, didn't do much of any other plyometrics. Strength trained, sure, but box jumps were really my main priority, just getting high so I could break the record. And then after I broke the record, I tested my 40-yard dash, and I hit a PR. It was the best I've ever ran, fastest I've ever ran, without even sprinting once within that year's worth of time. And I mean, that goes to show that the direct correlation between this exercise, standing exercise, where you're getting into that deep range of motion, or deeper range of motion, compared to a sprint, where you're also, same thing, in a very deep range of motion, working on glute and quad strength and explosiveness. So there is definitely carryover to other exercises such as sprints and other jumps. All right, so the surface that we jump on actually does matter, and we want to keep it consistent throughout us tracking our progress. And if you happen to jump on a different surface, I want you to track that only on that surface. So numbers shouldn't be tracked from, let's say a hardwood basketball court to a rubber matted gym floor such as this one. So they're going to be slightly different. Make sure that you're tracking each one correctly. Here's a very important key to the box jump is, I get very deep in my range of motion, like super, super deep, because I'm a power athlete that develops a lot of power over a longer duration of time. So I need to spend longer on the ground to kind of gather all that power, whereas other jumpers that you might know from social media or YouTube, they can just spring from a very shallow knee position. There is no right or wrong answer here, but you need to figure out what type of jumper you are and where you develop the most power at which angles. And I suggest that you continue to work at those angles and also work the angles that you're not weak at to become more well-rounded. But if we're going for a max box jump, we really want to consider, okay, let's say I am a very shallow jumper, then I don't want you to mimic how deep I get just because I'm the world record holder, because it's going to be completely different per athlete. So just because I get so deep and my chest is so low and I'm more of a hip dominant person that gets all the way down there, you might be more upright, more quad focused, and more elastic, energy in the tendons rather than energy in the muscles. All right? we want to start with a fairly low height for yourself, whatever that low height may be. It's going to differ for each athlete, but we want to start low and then add plates as we go on. We don't just want to jump into it just like we wouldn't jump into a max squat of 405 for one, right? We're going to build our way up, you know, 225, 315, 335, etc., all the way to our peaking phase. We want to build up a little bit. One, that's going to help warm up our muscles, and we should be getting an adequate warm up besides the box jumps as well. But that's going to provide a little bit of a warm up, and it's also going to build confidence. Confidence is super key here, especially when we're trying to go for our max vertical jump, box jump height. It's going to be super critical that we have the right mindset because it could get scary. I like to be able to do a jump twice in a row, 2 times in a row before I add another plate to it. So I'll get this height and I'll get it again, and then I'm like, okay, I can go up. And that's kind of a way I like to track progression. I think that that's a nice way to build confidence and build good habits, because we want to eliminate as many bad reps as possible, because then that's going to build bad motor patterns and it's going to decrease our confidence, which is very key. As for rep schemes, sets and reps, I'm a big believer in the body can adapt to doing great volumes over long periods of time. We don't want to spike our volume and do 50 jumps in one day. Start very small. You know, there's a long-term game. Start with 6 reps, 6 max reps attempts if you're not familiar with doing the box jump. And then next session add 2, so that you could do 8 reps next time, and then 10 reps the next time. Over you know, the course of a month, 2 months, you'll be able to get a lot more jumps, which will also build your confidence and help you increase those numbers, since you'll have more attempts. But we need to make sure that we keep the body healthy, because we don't want injuries. Part of the reason I attribute a lot of my success to the fact that I've been training consistently for years now without any major injuries. And that's because we moderate the volume in the World Record Jump program. So if you guys are also interested, we have a lot of box jumps in the World Record Jump program that helps us progress our athletes as well. So link is in the bio for that if you guys want to check out a dedicated program to increasing your vertical jump. Now, if you find yourself getting sloppy, or your technique, or you're tired, or you're not mentally focused, just cut off the session right there. You know, we'd rather bank, let's say bank 10 good reps, rather than get 20 where the last 10 were kind of sloppy and whatnot, because again, we're trying to build good patterns. Here's an example of something that we want to avoid at all costs. And I even do it too at some points, and it's like, that's when I know I'm tired, I'm not focused, and I need to cut the session there. When we can jump up, but we don't have that confidence to bring that leg, and then this is what happens. And then we think, oh, we were so close because I could balance at the top, but that's a bad rep, and we want to avoid those as much as possible, because that just is going to reinforce that behavior, that bad pattern, that bad habit over and over again. Trust me, I've been there where I've been weeks, 2 weeks, a month of literally just, I can't get myself to stop doing that. I didn't have confidence that I can have the explosiveness in that right hip flexor to get it up there. So we want to make sure that all of our reps, we're shooting that leg back up there, and that counts as a good rep. All right, guys, here's the fun part. Let's get into the box jump technique part of the video. So first off, where are we going to stand? Where are we going to stand is completely going to depend on your comfort. There's a lot of different reasons why we jump at specific spots. So I am a big fan of about standing straight and just arm's length away. That's where I feel confident. But you have to take into account, again, I am not an upright jumper. I hinge more, so my head's coming forward. I need a little bit of clearance. A person that might be more of an upright jumper might be able to get a little close. So when we're closer, it's more beneficial to getting higher, but then we have less horizontal energy to land at that top. So what might happen for for jumpers that are closer to the box is we get up there, but then we fall off. That doesn't count as a rep. We're not counting those. No bad reps. We got to come to a standing position at the top, just like the Guinness World Record rules say, because we don't cheat ourselves. Now, if you stand further back, then that's going to be good for developing that horizontal momentum that is going to be able to allow us to stick the landing and come to a standing position. But since we're jumping more horizontal, that's going to take away our max height. Okay, so we might not necessarily clear it. So there's give and take to both. I like a healthy in-between, and that's why I generally go here. But you're gonna have to do your own experimentation. Don't just do what I do. Play around with it, see where you're best. First couple days, weeks, experiment. All right, part of any vertical jump really is a super explosive arm swing, okay? We don't wanna chicken arm it or T-Rex arm it right here. We don't wanna jump here, right? You see, I'm in my standing position. I'm going down, up as fast as I can, and I'm literally trying to, it's like I'm uppercutting with my arms. I'm really imagined like that machine that gauges how hard you hit at the arcade is right there, and we want to come up with so much force that like if someone's chin was there, it would knock them out. So with that technique of a powerful arm swing, where are we placing our arms? Because depending on the surface that you're jumping on, which we'll talk about right after this. Depending on the surface you jump on, you might not have the clearance. That's why I do it on plates. And preferably, maybe even slightly smaller plates, 25-pound plates if you're comfortable with it, if they're secure enough. Because they're gonna be smaller, which will allow your arms to be more vertical. Here, I have to go a little bit more out with my arms. So a little bit more out here rather than here, but that still does the job for me, and that's okay. Now, if this was just one of those soft boxes found at most gyms, we're gonna have to modify it. You're obviously gonna have, you might have to stand back further away, or you might have to cut off your arms a little bit. So give and take to both. What I suggest whenever you could do it on secure plates that aren't going to slide, the thing is secure, beefy, then that's the way I like to do it. So another thing about safety, I want you guys to make sure that if you guys aren't confident, have a spotter behind you. Have a friend, person at the gym, excuse me, can you just spot me? Make sure it builds confidence and it also keeps you safe. So sometimes I do it without a spotter, but that's because I've been doing this for a long time. When I used to do it, when I was building up to it, I used a spotter. You could spot, and you could also secure the plates down even more with some straps if you guys want to be even more secure, or you could also use the softer boxes at most gyms. Now, I also wear shin guards, especially when the height starts getting very, very high. I wear shin guards, and that builds my confidence again because I have a couple scars here from all the missed box jumps attempts. For every amazing rep you see on Instagram and YouTube, there is 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 missed reps and frustrating reps. So it's all part of the process. If you guys are worried about the shins, get some shin guards. Completely eliminated that mental block from my head. All right, another technique. When we're doing the box jump, we don't want to wait at that bottom for so long and then jump up. We want to be down, up as fast as possible through our full range of motion of where we develop the most power. So we're still, I'm not telling you to cut off the range of motion in exchange for speed, but increase the amount of speed that you get your full range of motion, if that makes sense. So if I'm getting all the way down here, get there as fast as possible, down and up. You want to reverse the motion. The time that we spend on the ground, the time wasted, is energy wasted. So we want to decrease the amount of time that we spend on the ground as long as we get our full range of motion. With most jumps, we want to make sure that we're getting full glute hyperextension. Now, what does that mean? That means that we're not going to cut off our glutes right here. We're going at the top. Our glute should be all the way through. We're getting all that power through the upper range of motion of a jump. And my body can even slightly be in an arch. So it'll arch like that way when I'm jumping at the top. And that's how you know that I'm getting the most out of the glutes. The glutes are responsible for hyperextending the hips, getting the hips hyperextending past 180 degrees. That's where we're gonna develop our full power of the glutes. Now, with that being said, we're gonna be in that fully extended position. We need to have that confidence to rapidly reverse the motion now and flex the hip with the hip flexors. Go from that fully extended position to a fully flexed position. And so once we get to that max extended position, boom, then we need to bring it up with force. Bring both hip flexors, bring both knees up with both hip flexors. Let's talk about the landing technique. So when we want to land a box jump, I want you to check this out. We don't want to land super wide. Look at the range of motion that I get. Look how far down I get. Like right here, this is about it before my hips just don't have any more flexibility. But watch what happens when we go narrower. You see how much deeper I can get? That means that we're gonna be able to go higher on that jump. So I like my feet closer together, knees out, so the chest can fall down in between. I could throw the arms out and my chest could be down. That brings my butt lower to the ground, which means that I'm gonna be able to get on top and stabilize at a higher height than if I was going wide and only landing right here. Again, the difference here, between here, is huge. So we need to be able to throw that chest in between. If our knees are here, we're not gonna be able to throw the chest in between, and what's gonna happen, we're gonna land like this, and that momentum from my chest bouncing off my knees is gonna bounce us off of the plates. Not a completed rep if we don't land. Don't cheat yourself. Now, how many times per week do we wanna do these box jumps? We can do them once per week, twice per week, or 3 times per week. I wouldn't do it any more than 3 times per week. It depends on your goals. If this is literally the thing that you want to practice most and you want to sacrifice some of your other training time and effort towards this, then you can go 3 times per week. I was doing that when I practiced the world record, as long as your legs and your body doesn't feel too beat up from it, if your legs aren't too sore. You know? But if your legs feel like they can go 3 times a week and that's what you want, you want the box jump bad, go for it. Don't be afraid to do that. But we have to listen to our body. We have to be intuitive. And don't just say what a program, even my own program, don't just say, oh, a program says do it 3 times per week, so I'm gonna do it 3 times per week. Because sometimes our body just might not feel 3 times per week. So we have to listen to our body. Our bodies are smarter at what it needs than any coach or any program can be. That's about it. It sums up the box jump technique and my tips for box jumps. You guys can direct message me on Instagram or YouTube, Against Odds Athletics on both. And if you guys are interested in a dedicated vertical jump program, highly suggest my world record jump program. It's 95+ pages of super helpful information, chapters based on nutrition, obviously the 6-month training program that's meant to be cycled on and off. I've been on it for 2.5 years now and been seeing excellent results. Took my standing vertical from a 37.5 at my pro day in 2018 to a 46.5 right now, which is tied for the best ever in history. So program works. We have hundreds of athletes on the program right now, and you can find that in the link below and also in my bio on Instagram. Thank you guys. I'm Chris from Against Odds Athletics, and I hope that you guys got value from this video. If you guys did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because guess what? We're gonna be dropping content all the time now, and it's gonna be amazing. I can't wait to see you guys next time. Peace.